rub your hands, change the cross of your legs. There was a little lecture about glide. And bring your palms flat onto your chest, your heart space. Doesn't matter which hand comes first, just giving yourself a little bit of warmth. Breathing into your back body, into the side ribs. Touching your heart. Knowing that you're taking this moment for self-care, and with that care for the people around you and your actions and words you express in this world. And then open your eyes and we begin standing. So come up into a standing position and begin to just stretch your body, pendiculate, reach your arms up, interlace the fingers, maybe bend one knee, go to one side and then the other. Maybe you want to roll your body or reach the arms in different directions. See where you can sense some stickiness, some non-glidiness. And then, just one more. And then roll yourself out. So little body waves, centered pelvis, feet over your pelvis, spread the toes wide. Your pelvis is not tilted forward, nor tilted back. Take your hands onto the front of your thighs. And then with a long spine, let your hands glide down your thighs and towards your knees. So now your back muscles are activated. Now lift your pubic bone up, engage the lower abdominals and roll back up, a little wave through the spine. And we repeat this again. So with a long spine, you glide the hands down. The sit bones move away from one another. And then you tilt your tailbone down, lift your pubic bone up, push your feet down into the ground and roll back up. Let's do this again. Inhale, long spine. Hands glide down and then roll back up. And this already requires glidiness in the back body. So there's a fascial diamond in the lower back, and that needs glidiness in different angles. Now slide the hands down long spine. Stay here. Abdominals are slightly engaged. And then just tilt the pelvis forward and back. And notice maybe if your pelvis wants to kind of move to one direction or the other. And also see if your weight is maybe pressed more into the floor. One foot is pressed more into the floor than the other. So see if you can weight distribute evenly. And this is now pelvic floor engagement, lower abdominal engagement, and openness in the back body. Now stay here with the long spine. Back muscles are working. Turn your feet inwards. Knees are still bent. I know this looks a bit funny. And now tilt the pelvis again and extend. Tilt the pelvis and then extend the lower back again. This is also changing now the angle in which your hamstrings have to glide. So little warm up of the core and the back muscles and also glidiness of the hamstrings. Now center the pelvis, center the feet, roll all the way back up. Take your arms over the side, come onto your toes. Take your hands to your heart. And now sink vertically down with your heels still up into a grand plié or a chair pose. Take your hands down. Take your left arm up. I mirror you. Reaching up all the way. Stay here balancing, activating your deep front line, your deep core. And then take your right hand to your right hip. And now bring your heart, spiral your left arm down over an imaginary Swiss ball. Your heart turns towards the right. And then you bring your left hand towards your right knee. And then bring the hand back up. And you come into a side bend here. Center. And then move your arms forward. Extend the legs. And bring the hands down. Again, arms over the side, come onto your toes, inhale, hands to the heart into a plie, sinking down vertically. And then take your hands down, lift your right arm up, come into a beautiful long side bend. The pelvis stays as centered as possible. Abdominals are lightly engaged. left hand onto left hip, and then you spiral your heart towards the left. So your right hand moves down over the Swiss ball, and then you spiral the upper body, and it's the ribs moving now in a spiraling fashion with the spine, and then come back up into your side bend. Quads are probably beautifully warm now. Back up, extend the arms, lower arms, and heels. We roll down now, shake out your legs a little bit. Woo, good start. Centered pelvis over feet, so sway forward and back. See where your weight is distributed, maybe left to right. Nod your head, we move into a roll down, and keep your pelvis upright as long as possible. So lifting the skin behind the pubic bone, maybe even the tailbone towards the pubic bone, and then roll down halfway. Stay here, breathe into your lower back. And then keep rolling down slowly, all the way down that the hands almost touch the ground. And you can have a little bend in your knees if you need to. Now, abdominals, pelvic floor strongly engaged. And then bend the knees, let the engagement go, drop your head, let your belly rest on your thighs. Glide off the hamstrings now. Extend your left leg, your pelvis sways to the right, and then do the other side. So you, as if you would wag your tail, moving from left to right. And you notice now there's glidiness in the hamstrings required. Turn your feet out now, a little bit into a first position, and do the same again, swaying your pelvis left to right. Belly rests on the thighs. And then center the feet, turn them inward now, so toes inward, heels out. And again, bend one knee and then the other, moving your pelvis from left to right. Again, glidiness of the hamstrings connection towards your calf muscles. So there's always strong force communication between those two. It's part of the superficial back line, your fascial back body. Center your feet and then step back into a downward facing dog. And keep the hip creases deep, pushing your hands into the ground. Lift your heels up, and then bring your tailbone towards your pubic bone towards the navel. Roll forward into a plank position. You can also come into a kneeling plank, if that is your version. Pushing the hands strongly into the ground, and your chin moves slightly towards your throat, so your crown of the head reaches away from your tailbone. Take an inhale here, and exhale, drop the knees down, untuck your toes, and move your pelvis left to right while you're shifting your pelvis slowly back. So you're swaying your pelvis left to right, the hands stay where they are, your spine stays long, so you don't want to tilt your pelvis back, and you sway side to side, opening those tissues in the pelvis, also the deep lateral hip rotators, so part of your glutes, so to say, your deep glutes, and then center the pelvis and move back into a child's pose. The hands are still glued on the mat. So it's almost like a pull on the tissues of your arms. And I can almost touch my buttocks towards the heels, but there's a good tensioning here. And then roll up into a cat pose. Now this time the hands are still in front of your shoulder girdle. You center your spine. Now take your right leg out to the side. I mirror you here. So you're in a gate pose. The heart is reaching forward and your hands are slightly in front of your shoulders. Now tilt your pelvis back again, so your tailbone drops down, your pubic bone lifts towards your navel, and then lift the tailbone up, so the opposite direction. So that's an anterior tilt, and then do it again, tilting back and forward. Now you may notice this in the inner thighs, you may not. You can also now center the pelvis, shift back with a long spine, heart reaches forward at the same time, and come forward. Shift back again with a long spine, so inner thigh muscles here moving, and there's a different stretch tension, and come forward again. Now bring your pelvis, turn it towards the right. So as if you would turn towards your extended leg or leg that's out to the side, yeah? Hands both still on the ground, and then tilt it to the other side, as if you would want to stretch the inner right thigh. And then go left and right. So you may notice here, one side feels a little bit tighter. And then come to center. Now tilt your pelvis towards the leg that's out to the side. Then bring your pubic bone towards you. Now you do a circle with the pelvis. So you bring the pelvis, turn it towards the leg with the knee down, and then you reach your tailbone up. You bring, as if you would do a large circle with your tailbone. Forward to one side, back and up, and then the other. So rolling your pelvis, change direction. So do a circle with your tailbone, or you can also think your pubic bone turns forward and back and to the side, gliding those inner thigh muscles. And then center your pelvis again. Now with the hands still slightly in front, push your left knee into the ground and then lift your right leg up and bring it behind you. I'm still mirroring you here. Bend the left knee, the right knee, and then lift it up and lower. You're activated through the center and lower. Activating those glutes that we just opened and lengthened, and lift and a little lower. Lift, stay up now, and do a dorsiflexion with the foot. So the sole of the foot stays up and pulse, little pulses up here. Excellent. Keep pulsing. Beautiful glute activation. Now stay here, push. Take the knee down. You can relax the foot. And now bring the knee out to the side and back up, back down. Bring the right knee out to the side and back down. So now you need this glide that we just created in the inner thigh of the right leg to open and close the leg with more ease, and the muscles and the deep glutes, they can now really beautifully engage. So you see how that helps. And then bring it down. Now bring your right knee towards your nose, push into your hands, push, 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 rounding your back like into a cat pose. Stay here, breathe. And then step with your right foot forward into a lunge, in a kneeling lunge position. Roll up. Excellent, beautiful. Now in this position, take your hands out to the side, hands behind your head. Core is slightly engaged, tailbone long, pubic bone lifts. And then reach your left elbow up towards the ceiling. Take your right hand to the inside of the right thigh, and then slide the right hand down whilst your heart turns up towards the ceiling more. And then let that go a little bit, turning your heart forward. Do this again, sliding your hand down, your right hand, whilst the left elbow spirals up to the ceiling, and relax. Beautiful opening of the psoas here. Also gliding of the abdominal layers, which naturally glide because there's a lot of movement in the rectus sheath in our abdominal area. It more so gets stiffer and tighter in the back body. And then last time, bring both hands down, take them out to the side overhead. Shift slightly back like this, and so that you can take your left hand next to your left knee. And you can also, if this feels a bit deep for you, you can use a block on any height here. Or you can come onto your fingertips, strengthening the hands. That's also beautiful. And so the hand is near your, in line with your knee here. Arms reaches up alongside your ear, and then spiral your right arm down with your heart. Right arm spirals down towards the floor. The left knee still points forward and up, and then spiral back up. Good. You're in a side bend again. Then from here, Turn your palm up towards the ceiling. Bring the arm behind you so it circles back behind you. Bring it all the way down towards your hip. And palm faces up. Bring it back towards the arm towards your ear. Then the palm faces down, and then you spiral over your imaginary ball, Swiss ball again. Pelvis stays upright, pubic bone slightly lifts, and you spiral your spine, and the tissues of your rib cage are now differently tensioned. And then come back one more time into your side bend. Open the palm up to the ceiling. Take the right hand behind you, down towards your pelvis. And we're gliding now the fascia of your pectoral area here. So pectoralis minor and major. Now have the arm alongside your ear. Bring the hand vertically up. Come onto your fingertips or a little bit higher. Engage your abdominals. And then move all the way up. So beautifully opened and started gliding now also the obliques. Take your left hand out to the side, right arm up. And then move into a side bend here. Or take your right hand behind your head, move into a side bend and reach your left arm out to the side and come back up. Little muscle engagement here. Reach your left arm out to the side, right elbow up. That's it. So stabilizing again, especially for those temple dancers among us. For these glidey opening movements, they love then the stabilizing nature afterwards again. And then come all the way up. And take your hands down. Bring your hands to the floor. Step back into a downward facing dog. Take a moment to sense in to your body. Wiggle, move, paddle, roll. Bring things into place again. Lift your heels up, roll forward into a plank. Stay in your plank. Reach your tailbone back. You can also come onto the kneeling plank, of course. Push the hands and we stabilize now. Force transmission through the body. Core engaged, superficial backline engaged. Reach through the crown of the head. Breathe evenly into the rib cage. And then drop the knees slowly down. Untuck your knees and shift your pelvis back with a long spine. Curl the pelvis, roll forward, small wave forward. So your shoulders move back over your hands. Shift back once more and roll forward again. Beautiful small wave here. Now shift your pelvis over your knees and take your left leg out to the side. I'm turning to the other side so you can see this. And now shift back and forward. Oh no, we did this before. First, tilt the pelvis forward and back. So pubic bone lifts and then lift the tailbone. Pubic bone lifts towards the navel and then lift the tailbone. So you're tilting your pelvis forward and back. Different glidiness for the adductors, the inner thigh muscles. Also in the lower back, of course, always required. And then center the pelvis, shift back with a long spine and come forward again. Let's do this a few more times. Shift back, come forward. So this session definitely will feel like you had a bodywork session because we open those deep structures where we love to avoid getting into those motions, especially when it feels a bit dense and deep. Center your pelvis. Now bring your pelvis, bring it towards the screen. So pubic bone turns towards the screen, towards the elongated leg, if that's the case for you, and then back to the other side. So first towards the side that is where the leg is reaching out, and then back towards the right. So tilting the pelvis left to right, rolling it left to right. Notice how the inner thigh tension of the extended leg changes when you turn away from it and vice versa. And then center the pelvis for a moment, and we do again the rolling motion or the rounding of the pelvis. We start now with the pubic bone lifting towards the navel, then bring it towards the knee that's on the ground, then bring the pubic bone away from you, and the tailbone lifts, and then do a circle towards the extended leg, and then again forward. So do a circular movement with your pelvis. Again, accessing those inner thigh glidiness or availability, hopefully. Otherwise, we make it now happen. Turn, next, rotate your pelvis to the other side, so other way around, very slow motion. And you can have your hands slightly in front of your shoulders to take out the weight out of your wrists if that's necessary. Excellent. And then center your pelvis. And now press the right knee on foreleg, lower leg, shin bone into the mat. So you engage the core here. And then lift the left leg up, bring it behind you, bend the knee, and then lift it up and down. So you don't need to lift it all the way down, just a little bit. We want to come into a hip extension through the left leg. Pelvis stays as centered as possible so the glutes can really work here. And then dorsiflex the foot and do little pulses here as if you would want to push the heel up towards the ceiling. Activating again what we just opened when we shift it back. And then take your knee down. You can relax the foot. And now bring the knee out to the side and back to center. Core is engaged slightly to stabilize the pelvis. And we utilize now the glidiness of the inner thigh. So the glute muscles, they can do their magic. And also, obviously, the abductors, abductors. And then lift up. Lower down, take the knee towards your nose, round your back, hold here, push into your hands as strong as possible, breathe, and step with your left foot forward and roll up into a kneeling position. Take your hands out to the side, behind you, and now lift your right elbow up. Take your left hand to the inside. And here, spiral again your heart up as your left hand moves down the inner thigh, and then come back to center again. And you may notice a difference between left and right here. So pubic bone lifts slightly, little core engagement, pelvis can stay centered, lower back is long. Opening up beautifully. Come back to center. Bring both hands down alongside your body. Circle them up. And then shift slightly back. Take your right hand down and your left arm alongside your ear. So I'll have to make sure I'm not falling apart here, my shirt. And now left hip crease is deep. And then spiral your arm down again. Your heart spirals down and down towards the floor. Bring it back up so you're in this side bend. Turn your palm up towards the ceiling. Lift your heart to the ceiling. And then at the same time, your left arm moves behind you, down towards your hip, behind you. Gliding the arm. Reach the fingertips away from you as the glide back into next to your ear. Palm down. And then spiral down again. Pelvis stays centered and it's just your heart, your spine spiraling down, your arm over this imaginary big sphere. And then once more, palm faces up, reach the arm back, gliding off the pectoral fascia here, arm behind you, and then back next to your ear. And then take your arm up towards the ceiling, engage your abdominals, maybe come onto your fingertips, and then come all the way up. Take your left hand behind you, right arm out to the side. Now, as you reach the right arm out to the side, you bring your left elbow up. Abdominals here, engage, and come back up. So out to the side, reaching your right arm out, 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 and come back up. Let's do this a couple more times. Beautiful oblique muscles. Reawaken force transmission necessity here that we prepared for so well. Once more, and then come all the way up. Lower the arms, step back into a downward facing dog. Wiggle yourself out. Lift the heels, prepare to roll into a plank pose. So ground through the hands, curl your pelvis, so abdominals engage slightly, and the sit bones move towards your heels, and the weight shifts forward onto your arms. Push into your hands. Stay here, take an in-breath, stabilizing through the whole body. Drop your knees, untuck your toes, turn your hands slightly inwards, so pigeon-toed hands. Bend the elbows and lead with the heart down towards the floor, not all the way. Push yourself back up. And then again, bend the elbows. Inhale, exhale. Last time, inhale. Exhale, push yourself back up. And then come all the way down in slow motion. Slower, 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 slower. Interlace the hands behind you. Keep a little bend in your elbows so you can really open up through the collarbones. Reach your tailbone or your tailbone long. Pubic bone drops towards the floor without gripping your glutes. And then lift your heart up just as far as this is possible without clenching your glutes here. Breathe for a moment and then turn yourself towards the right. Just slightly the hands go to the left and then other way. Good. Just turning here. Keep pubic bone pressing down into the floor. And we open up the tissues in the front of the chest, activating the back muscles. And then come to center again. Take your hands next to your shoulders. Tuck your toes under. And with the exhalation, push yourself into a kneeling plank. Exhale. Untuck the toes and roll back into a child's pose. In your child's pose, sway your pelvis from side to side. And here, now you can have your arms relaxed. You can stack your fists or have your head on the floor, whatever feels comfortable. And continue to slide the pelvis. So move it, sway it from left to right. Maybe you can go all the way with your pelvis, one hip down to the floor, and then back to center. So beautiful opening of the fascia, not just in the deep lateral hip rotator, so your deeper glutes that turn out the legs. They also extend the hip to a degree, but also in the fascia of your lower back. If you like, center your pelvis, reach your arms forward, and then bring the hands towards the left. Let your pelvis slide over the right foot. Breathe here for a moment, and then come to center with the pelvis. Bring your hands to the other side, to the right, and your hips slide over the heels on the left. Take a breather here, tensioning the arm lines connected to your fascia of the lower back, and then come back to center and wiggle and move your hips a little bit, and slowly now roll up into a kneeling position if that's a suitable seat for you. Good. Take a moment, hands into your lap or wherever you like to place them for a moment of breathing in stillness. Your eyes can be closed or your gaze to the floor. Crown of the head is reaching up towards the ceiling. Let your breath flow. Tuck your chin slightly in so you have a beautiful long neck. Notice how the breath fills the rib cage, and even your breath creates a stretch tension from the inside out, gliding tissues along each other. And also creating an alkaline environment and reducing the likelihood of stiffening of fascia, hydrating the body in an indirect way. And then gently open your eyes, take your hands to your heart space, and bow your head towards your heart, towards your center, to the earth. Thank you for practicing. Have a lovely, fluid feeling, glidey day.